What's up, everyone? Welcome back to this week's FXK Forex breakdown, guys. Today we are going over volume 5. Don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with our latest market forecast, guys. With that being said, you guys already know we'll go ahead and dive straight in. So looking this week, right now on my watch list, I have AUDUSD, EURNZD. Now, AUDUSD is kind of a carryover from last week, but I'm still kind of watching it a little bit to see what it's going to do, because long term, I think potentially it does have maybe more upside to go. We'll also be briefly looking at the US 30. We'll be looking at oil, EURGBP, and USDJPY, guys. So go ahead and look at AUDUSD from basically last week, you guys. When I gave this setup out, we were looking for two possible scenarios. Okay, I let you guys know that I favored the upside. We were looking at either a rejection from resistance or a break and retest of support, and then the continuation. So we did get a retest just on a lower time frame, maybe on the between the 15-minute to 30-minute. You guys would see a more so inner retest in this range. Overall, we were looking for a bigger retest. Mainly, there were some of you that took the buy from the break. If you did, cheers, guys. We're pretty much almost at that overall target level. What I think AUDUSD will do long term is potentially reach our weekly resistance at 70500. What I'm looking for right now, we might see an intraday pullback to this support here and then the continuation. So if I update this here, we might see something like this. Now we've recently come into a supply here. So you guys can see right now we're pretty much getting that rejection. So we might get a retest to this support and then a continuation up to resistance. That's definitely what I'll be looking for. The safer scenario for this pair would always be to just wait for that breakout of this supply zone and then potentially look for a retest to the supply zone. Now, it might be a very low time frame retest and then the continuation to the upside. But overall, guys, I still think AUDUSD still has more upside to go. EURNZD. So this pair, guys, we've been waiting on this pair for a decent period, right? So this is actually a long-term swing that we're looking at. I have it broke down in more so of a short-term setup, but I do think potentially this pair can actually reach these levels here, which would be the 1.67500 range. Anywhere in this zone, I do think price can easily achieve. If I mark it up for you here. So anywhere in this range, I do think price can easily achieve once we do fully break this support in this range. If you guys look on that daily time frame, we have a real nice double top on the daily to weekly perspective. And if we look at a more lower time frame perspective, we're forming a head and shoulders in this range as well. And we've also broken out of the consolidation range. Even though we're retesting right now, we might actually just see a temporary retest to the 50 and that TL and then the continuation down to support. So I'm definitely watching for more bears on EURNZD. I do like how today's daily candle closed. Got a nice bearish candle close, breaking out of that TL as well. So it's really good to see. So we might just be seeing a temporary pullback, guys. I actually do expect this daily candle here to actually close bearish. So I do think the retest will be on this specific candle, and then we get the continuation down, or this candle would end up closing like this, potentially below the previous support around this range. And then the following daily candle would just melt. But overall, throughout the end of this week, I do think that by Friday, we should potentially reach the 69,500 level, and long term, I'm looking to target the 67,500 level. And ultimately, we might actually see price achieve that 1.66500 level. So stay looking out for that on EURNZD, everyone. So US 30. What I'm doing on this pair, there's nothing that I actively see right now. What I would like to see is a retest back to the zone. Okay, if I'm going to trade this pair for the next trade, we all know this pair is very heavy, so I would love to trade this pair completely accurately if I can, and try not to jump the gun and just hop in it just because I see opportunity. So for this pair, I would actually be looking for price to retrace in this zone. I would not be looking to sell unless we achieve this price action zone. And then what I would actually do is draw that fib to see where we align in this zone. You guys can see that 61 and that 71. I'm sorry, that 61.8 and that 71 fib is kind of aligning pretty much in the zone and kind of prematurely right before the zone. So that's that pocket bubble that I'm looking to see price show some signs of rejection. And if we are able to get those signs, then I'll look for a potential short out of this zone of the 2.5, around that 2.5-400 level, back down to see 2.4-250 be achieved. And that's US 30, guys. So for oil, guys, I do think long term we are still going to see more downside. I do love how that monthly candle just closed. We got a nice bearish engulfing candlestick closing for the monthly, so that is definitely a continuation as far as for the downside there. So I don't think we'll get much of a pullback on this pair if we look at the daily time frame here. Seeing how that monthly close, we also have our death cross coming up pretty soon here with our moving averages. So I don't think we're going to see too much of a pullback on this pair before we start to get that continuation down. I would actually be looking for any kind of corrective structure on the lower time frame or any kind of continuation structure on the lower time frame to look to see further downside on this pair. Maybe even a break of this counter trend line could be a nice sign for the further continuation down. Long term, I am looking for first that 50 to be achieved. Okay, so if you're looking at the psychological level, then we would go for that 50 flat, which would be in this zone here. So go ahead and update this. We'll be looking for this psychological level to be achieved. Prematurely, we're actually looking at a range. If we want to range it here, we'll be looking at something like this, anywhere in this bubble. We could see a potential rejection temporarily back to the upside anywhere, and then the continuation down to long-term achieve 42.50 or even 42 flat. So that's what I'm looking for on oil right now. I'm not seeing too many setups currently. What I would be personally doing is just watching it to watch a potential continuation setup form. And then from there, I'll start to look for selling opportunities to catch the ride back to the downside. You guys can even look on the 4-hour to drop a fib to maybe catch some potential levels. Again, since we're looking for a quick continuation, we wouldn't be looking for too deep of a retracement. So I'm not really expecting the 61 or the 71 to be achieved. I would actually prefer anywhere around the 38.2 or the 50 Fibonacci level to maybe find a retracement and then look for that continuation to the downside. Next pair that we'll be looking at, guys, is EURGBP. So for this pair right now, we're actually just into this pair not too long ago. We're looking for a short-term trade from our perspective, from the signal that I gave out. To my team. We're actually going to look to completely take profit once we reach this zone. So about a 4-to-1, 5-to-1 opportunity. Long term, I do think that this price action could achieve overall the 38.2. And if we're looking at price itself, I would think that price would be able to achieve that 87.250 range. Anywhere in this bubble pocket, we could potentially see a short-term reversal back to the upside. We might actually see this pair of long-term get back down to these lows, these previous lows here around that 8,500 level. So around this zone here, if we were to put a pocket on this, around this pocket here, anywhere, if we do break this support level, I think that this previous resistance, which is now support, would be achieved first. And then once we break this level, then we're back into this consolidation range. And I would expect price to actually reach the bottom of this range again. So that's EURGBP. Watch out for that, guys. It's a really nice opportunity on this pair. Only at 18 pip stop loss right now, and we're looking at 141 pip take profit overall. So keep an eye out on this pair. We are heavily exhausted, and we are showing some nice divergence currently where price action is floating. If I show you guys on the daily time frame, you'll see how significant this zone is currently that we're in. If I were to extend this out a little bit more, you guys can see that we're in a pretty nice pocket here, and we're looking for that potential reversal. I don't like how the daily candle did close just now here. If I spread that out for you guys, so that does raise a little bit of caution to me because of how the daily candle closed. So that is why we're keeping a very tight stop loss, and we're looking for a very immediate reversal and rejection out of this zone right now. So that's your GBP. Again, small stop loss. We're going to take this opportunity because of the ratio. If it does reject from here, then we'll look to see that continuation down. Also, we have our harmonic pattern also giving us that backup in this zone of interest. A pair that I do like right now that's definitely on the favorites list is going to be USDJPY. I am expecting a continuation to the downside on this pair. We got a nice daily close. We got a nice monthly close on this pair. So I'm not looking to see too much of a pullback to the upside. I'm actually looking for price to show us potential reversals in the current zone that it's in. So we might see a little bit of consolidation in this range and then break back out to continue down to that 107 level. The same way we saw this consolidation here, you guys can see we had that impulsive move here, and then we started to slow the momentum and consolidate in price, and then we got to picking that momentum back up after we got a false break out of that consolidated range here. So potentially look for the same thing, another consolidation. We might actually get another false break, which would actually give optimal entry for the sell, looking anywhere in this bubble, and then catching that continuation down. So watch out for this zone. We could just continue to drop, or we might actually get a little bit of consolidation in this range, something like this. And maybe even just to get a little slight breakout, just to pop back in and continue down to that expected price zone here around that 107 level. So that wraps up this week's watch list, guys. Currently, again, I'm mainly focusing on USDJPY. I like the opportunity that's being presented on EURGBP. EURNZD definitely has a nice downside opportunity that is showing itself. Again, we just have to remain patient and wait for this opportunity to play out. AUDUSD, I am expecting further upside on this pair. Again, we're waiting for the break of the zone to take this pair safely to the upside, or we'll look for the retest to support. Look for some exhaustion and reversal signs in that lower time frame, anywhere between the 15-minute to the 1-hour time frame, and then we'll look to see that continuation to the upside. On the US 30, guys, again, I'm only taking this trade if we get that reversal back into that area of interest, and then I'll look for that exhaustion and other opportunities for potential reversals in this area to take the sell back down around that 240-250 range. On oil, guys, I do think we have way more downside on the long-term perspective. We'll be looking for any kind of corrective or continuation structures to present themselves so we can maybe catch a continuation to that downside. So again, that first zone to be achieved would be that 50 flat level, or you guys can go for that extension range, or just right before the 50 level, you guys can maybe target 50-50 to get it safely, to make sure you're not caught out by any slight movements that would come right before the zone and then reverse back up. So just be watching for further downside on US oil. And that does wrap up this week's weekly watch list, guys. I do thank all of you guys for tuning in to the market forecast, guys. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or send me a message on Telegram. You guys can feel free to email me or even shoot me a message on YouTube, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your trading week. And if you guys have any questions, again, just shoot me a message on Telegram to stay up to date with our latest forecast. I'll see you guys next week, and have a great trading week.